Here with more reaction, Fox News contributors Ari Fleischer, Kaylee McGhee-White, and former U.S. Senator and candidate for U.S. Senate in New Hampshire, Scott Brown. We'll start with you, Senator, and soon-to-be Senator Scott Brown. What is going on in New England? We're told everybody in Maine has an independent streak and you do things differently. This guy was a terrible candidate because he's a terrible person. He's not a great husband, not a great man, and yet people that you have served with in the Senate previously that you know stuck by him much after so many of these serious allegations had come to light. How do you explain this?
Well, it's really hard to explain, Kellyanne. I mean, you look at Cory Booker, he said, we just need a win. So the standards obviously have been reduced. It's no longer, the party of JFK or Clinton or even Obama. It's the Platner party. It's the Mamdani party. And the Democratic Socialists are trying to take it over. And you have people like Elizabeth Warren. He's my kind of guy. I'm paraphrasing. And then you have Bernie Sanders just pushing him and others like him to destroy not only the Democrat Party, but obviously trying to destroy, I feel, the country. Now, you look, they spent hundreds of millions of dollars trying to get rid of Susan Collins. And respectfully, whether he was in or out, she was going to win again. And I just thought, they're doing it obviously because they need to get a replacement. It'll probably be Janet Mills, I would think, again.
Kaylee, I think they just took too long. And I got to say tonight that the Democratic donors are not the courageous ones. They're a pack of lemmings who just stroke a check to whoever's against Trump, against Republicans, calling themselves a socialist. But they took too long because the courageous people here are the women who came forward. It's hard, Kaylee, for these women to come forward against the machine, against the Democratic machine, and speak out. But how do you feel tonight? Do you think that that justice and morality won out here, Kaylee, over politics? Or do you feel this was not about morality, it was about electability for the Democrats?
Oh, I think it's totally about electability. However, I think that morality has won out for the women who did come forward. Look, I have zero sympathy for Graham Platner, who has been handed just about everything in life and whose history of abhorrent behavior began long before these latest allegations, and yet still has somehow found a way to make himself the victim in all of this. But you know what? The Democrats deserve every single second of this. What a spectacular embarrassment for the party this entire candidacy has been. Essentially, what they have communicated to voters in Maine is that they were just fine with the Totenkopf tattoo, the Nazi tattoo. They were just fine with his sexist and racist Reddit comments. They were just fine with him sexting other women days after getting married. They were just fine with a host of other scandals, including allegations that he locked Lindsay Fifield, one of his ex-girlfriends, in a room because she was a conservative woman. So, of course, the Democrats don't care about that. But we're supposed to believe that this is where they draw the line? Give me a break. The only reason that they're calling it quits on Platner now is because their internal polls told them to. Otherwise, they would have stood by him throughout, just like they did with other Democrats, such as Ralph Northam down in Virginia, who rode out his governorship despite his many scandals as well.
Ari, we met decades ago. We've been doing this for a long time in politics and communications, and our shock absorbers are thick, but this one really singes. This guy is reprehensible on every level, but I want to ask you as a communications expert a couple things. One is, what would you have advised your client to do? An 11-minute video stream of consciousness tearing down the same structure that you relied upon that is now kicking you out, or would you have gone out gracefully? And number two, where does this leave the rest of the socialist candidates that seem to be on the march in the Democratic Party?
Well, because you asked me a communications question that I don't like, I'm going to do my best to answer it. But this man is a sicko, and there was nothing about that video that was good. The only thing I could say to you, at least it was genuine. It came from his lying heart. It wasn't a script that somebody else wrote for him. You could just tell he wanted to say those things because he is a liar. He lied about the Nazi tattoo. It's bad enough that he got one, but then we know there's evidence from two previous girlfriends who said they talked to him about it being a Nazi tattoo, one of whom said it in an email prior to him saying he only learned about it later that it was a Nazi tattoo. So he lied about the Nazi tattoo, and he's lying tonight in that video about why he had to get out. The fact that he blamed it on powerful forces, I mean, think about Jenny Rosicott, the brave woman who stepped forward to say that he allegedly raped her. The only powerful force that she knew was what he did to her that night. And he has the temerity to blame this on powerful forces? This man is tone deaf, and I just predict it's just a matter of time until he's back on kick, and that's where he belongs. You know, as for where this is going to do the socialist movement nationwide, it won't change it one bit. He was always more of a personality candidate than a socialist candidate, and that was because of all his foibles, all his immoral lapses, everything he's done wrong. But the socialist candidates are still on the march throughout the United States. Next big test is coming up in Michigan. There's
no question. They've got some power behind them. And I just quickly from each of you, do you think this helps or hurts Susan Collins, who's been a senator since 1997, cast 40,000 votes, rose with President Trump 90 to 95% of the time, doesn't argue with him to go to run to the media and complain about him and whine about it, and didn't retire, wasn't primaried from the right. Do you think this helps or hurts her, Graham Platner, out of the race? We'll start with you, Scott.
Well, first of all, she's one of the hardest working senators I've ever met. 10,000 straight votes. The things she brings back to Maine are unparalleled. So if she lost, Maine would be the loser. I think she was going to win regardless, but this obviously helps her even more.
Kaylee?
Well, I agree. I think this solidifies her victory because I think Democrats have left such a bad taste in the mouths of Maine voters and have revealed just how low they are willing to sink in order to gain power. And I think that voters are going to reject whoever Democrats end up coronating as a result.
And Ari?
Yeah, I think she would have preferred to run against Graham Platner because of all his obvious problems. But Susan Collins is one tough cookie. She won her last 3 races by 9 points, 30 points, and 23 points. She'd be hard to beat no matter who it is. But Maine is still a 50-50 state.
Ari Fleischer, Kaylee McGhee-White, and Scott Brown, thank you.
All right, thanks for watching. Check out my new podcast, Hanging Out with Me, Sean Hannity. The big interviews, the debates you won't get anywhere else. Like and subscribe for new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday.